welcome to Pickin and Grinnin. Today we have Brandon and Brad. I'm sure Leroy, unless somebody's heard from Leroy, I haven't heard from him, so I don't. Wait a minute, is he on a trip?
Yeah, he's on his trip to see his daughter this week.
Okay, so Leroy's with his daughter this week. There we go. So it's just us three tonight, guys. So any questions or whatever, feel free to ask, and we'll do the best we can. Other than that, Brad, you been playing with eggs today?
Playing with eggs. Yeah, I
Yeah.
have.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, that's a reference to a few weeks back. We talked about growing up, I hated eggs, and my dad made me eat eggs, and then my realization that life is sometimes you just have to eat the eggs. And so
Right.
we've been talking about our death piles and stuff that we need. It don't have to be death piles. It could be a metaphor for anything that you need to get done, but you're just avoiding doing. And sometimes you just dive in and eat the eggs. But anyway, yesterday I had not a bad attitude. I just didn't. I was trying to start it on that yesterday and didn't really want to do it. And then today I just jumped in. I've actually just been listing stuff from the death pile, really clearing out racks, really what I'm doing. But it's a rack full of stuff that needs to sell or be gone one way or another.
Wow, that's good. Brandon, how you been this week, buddy?
I I don't know. It's been crazy.
In one of them weeks, huh?
Hey, it's been one of them. Let's see, 12. It's been one of them last like 19 hours.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
You had some news in the
I
card world, right?
yeah. I didn't get to bed till after 2 a.m. Um, and then I was back up at like probably 6:30 this morning, and it's been just crazy all day. So
What
this is
happened in
actually
the?
this will be my third live stream since 11 o'clock last night. So
That's awesome. You've been busy.
it's
That just
been
means you've been
crazy.
busy. What's been going on in the card world?
The company that I use that I'm a bulk submitter for grading, um,
Right.
they were purchased by the main company that is owner of the largest grading company in sports cards. Um, so crazy news, unexpected. Um, just about
So is
11
that a?
o'clock last night, it was announced. Darren Ravel tweeted it out and made the announcement, and my phone just started blowing up.
So is
How,
that a good thing or a bad thing?
how does it potentially affect you?
Right.
So currently the way it's been presented is the two companies. PSA is owned by a company called Collectors. They own
Mm-hmm.
Golden Auctions, PSA, WADA, who does video games, a pricing company called Card Ladder. They own a coin grading company. They own a lot of different companies, but Collectors is the umbrella, the main company. And they bought now SGC, who was essentially the second largest grading company, especially in sports cards. And so the way it's being presented currently, and I'm trying to stay optimistic, but I also know the effects that could potentially happen. They're saying they're going to run both companies independently, just under the one umbrella. And as awkward as that sounds, um, there's pluses and minuses to it. The company has grown; they do have value to them, and so it's kind of like if your competitor is chunking away at your armor, you can stay competing with them, or you could buy them and then get that revenue. And cutting them out, in this space, you're not going to gain, like PSA wouldn't gain all of the followers of FGC. So cutting them out, you potentially would lose more profit than you would gain by just owning them and letting them run independently. So it's a scenario that's going to be interesting, and it's going to take a while to see how it fully plays out and what the full impact would be. It could be a positive impact now that there's more revenue to help SGC grow more. They have, something to fall back on with even more credibility being owned by collectors. But at the other end of it, there's also the question marks that are kind of scary that, the lights can be cut off at any time. And you don't want to be stuck left in that scenario. So I'm trying to stay optimistic with it. And, it's just a crazy thing. Like, it was unexpected. It was kind of expected the company to be purchased or acquired, but not by them, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
That it was actually believed that Fanatics would actually acquire them. So, with them jumping into the collectible sports card market and everything, they would then have a company to do grading and stuff. And there's actually been speculation that they were acquired by collectors / PSA to kind of put a block on Fanatics being able to acquire them. So it's an interesting market space, but who knows what'll happen. It's been a crazy like 19 hours or whatever since 11 o'clock last night. It has been crazy. So
Oh wow, that is pretty neat. Well, I've been doing cards on Whatnot, and seem to be doing. I've done pretty good the last couple weeks with them. Just doing a bunch of singles, and I've been doing some packs here. I had some about 4 or 5 boxes of 2023 left over from a buy I had not too long ago, and I broke the boxes and sold the packs, and I did end up selling every one of those. So it ended up being pretty good. Had some pretty interesting cards in there. We opened a holiday box. Let me show you. We opened this box last night and sold all 10 packs out of there, and ended up having a can't remember the guy's name, but he was a rookie, and it was a patch. Had a piece of his clothing in the card, which was pretty cool. Like doing that. But other than that, if we did truck along on eBay, I don't know how everybody else's sales have been going, but they've been going decent. I'm starting to sell some old stuff that's been sitting in the store for a while, so it's kind of been shocked. Like, I sold a couple things today that I just like, what? I got that still, So It's been one of them things. So it looks like Silver.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say, it looks like Silver Hair went to a estate sale today. 200 Parker pen refills. That's great, man.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So I've been testing my theory about listing in a kind of in a singular category and selling a whole lot in it. One of the things that we've had over the years is Thomas the Train stuff, and it sells here and there, but it sits around a while. But we had that buy that I talked about last week, where we went Sunday before last. Or was it this last Sunday? I guess it had to be Sunday before last. And we bought that eBay buyer or eBay seller that was kind of going out of business, bought their little collection, and been listing that. And so we're selling like crazy. The weird thing is that the Thomas the Train that we already had, that's kind of just been sitting around for a year or two, that actually started selling first before we even started selling before the new batch even started selling as we was listing it. So
wow,
interesting. Actually, we're in the profit on that buy pretty good now. We've sold, actually had a pretty big sale right before we came on, about 20 minutes before we came on. So
that's good.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah, and some we've had some miscellaneous sales in there too. So I've noticed that some older stuff's kind of moving too.
Well,
hopefully we'll start selling some of these eggs.
What kind of eggs did you list?
I had some. I just tackled a box of like label makers that I had, kind of thermal label makers. That I had some video game controllers I put up today. I had some. I got a shelf of some new wave stuff. That part of them's been parted out, and sold. So they're all in the profit, but I've still got some pieces I can sell off of those. I just been getting those listed. It's actually it's kind of a hard thing. It's like you look at stuff and it's like none of it's been like a pain to list or anything like that. But you look at it and you think, man, I'm just going to donate that. But then you have that like, well, let me look before I make that decision. And then you get to looking, it's like, well, I can actually list this stuff. I'll tell you that. Yeah. I'll let you guys can weigh in if you want to. I've been trying to decide, is listing this miscellaneous, it's not crap because a couple of pieces are pretty good, but the question is listing this miscellaneous stuff going to damage the stuff I'm kind of honed in on and selling, or is it just
right?
Have no effect at all? I don't know. So I'm willing to experiment with it.
Well, I think just the fact that your listing items will help the algorithm, whatever. Remember, so at least you're listing something per day. You know what I mean? And that helps.
Yeah.
So you'll find out in a year if it's still sitting around whether it's worth it or not, though.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'll tell you, I don't know you guys. I don't know if you've ever fooled with Thomas the Train stuff, but I can give you one. I can give you guys, and then if you don't know, and the other people out there in Radio Land, little tips. It's not about some of the individual trains are going to be good, but if you find a batch of them and you can get them cheap enough, but you're worried about if they work or not. We sold 3 lots right before we came on. So we've been testing them, separating them, testing them, doing all that. That's what's been going on over the last week, and been selling out of that. And then everything that didn't work, we kind of just tossed it to the side in a bin, and my wife just put them up in individual lots, and those things just sold. So if you can get them for pretty cheap, even if they don't work, you can lot them up and make some money off of them. So my guess is there's some Thomas the Train people out there that actually take and repair, and if they can get them cheap enough, they'll buy them and repair them and sell them. So, but I don't know that to be a fact. Actually, while you guys talk, I'm gonna do a little feedback sleuthing and see if they're actually sellers.
So, right. So, Absolute Fine says anyone going to the 127, and he bought 2 tickets today. Now, I'm planning on it. I don't know if it's going to happen, but I'm planning on going this year. But what I want to know is what are the 2 tickets for? Because I didn't think you had to buy. It's a yard. 127 is the yard sale on the road, right? That's the big long road, right?
I think maybe they're talking about the meetup or on that thing or something.
Okay.
So I will be going to the 127, but I'm going to make it known now. I will not be attending the meetup. I did go to the meetup last year. Caleb, great dude. His wife, amazing cook. But I am going to exclude myself for personal reasons from the meetup this year. And I'll just leave it at that.
So
there are reasons that I'm not going to.
He says it's for the Pickin, the plateau.
Yeah, it's a meetup that last year, it was the first year that they did it last year. It was Chris, Old School Picker, and Caleb, and then obviously them two both were on the Two Old Guys podcast. And now Caleb has his channel, The Old Paths, and Chris has since stopped doing YouTube. I think he's still selling on eBay and stuff, but I think he wound up getting a opportunity. I don't know exactly what the opportunity was, if it was a job or what, but anyway, they put on the meetup last year, and I'll say it was a lot of fun. Met some cool folks. Caleb and Chris, both great people. Caleb's wife and his son did the cooking and stuff. The food was amazing. Um, I just, like I said, for personal reasons, I'm excluding myself from the meetup, and I'll just leave it at that. I don't want to deter anyone from going. I just am choosing myself to not go. How about
So
that?
where is the meetup? Which state is it in?
It'll be in
Tennessee.
Crossville,
Where?
Tennessee.
Crossville, Tennessee.
Crossville.
Clarksville, Tennessee.
Yeah.
So how much do tickets normally cost?
Last year they were $25 a person. I don't know what
Okay.
I'm assuming they're the same price this year, but I'm not 100% certain.
Is that
And I will
something you got to
say,
pay ahead of time?
yeah, I would definitely, because they have a capacity and they can't exceed the capacity. I'll tell you, I don't know what they're serving this year. But the $25, like just the food alone, like again, I have reasons I'm not going, but I wouldn't deter anyone. And Chris is great, his wife is great. The food was amazing, and $25 was a bargain for the food and everything. So
Really?
it's reasonably priced. It was
Eric,
fun, but
Eric and Tim, OBX, and over the years, they both said the food was phenomenal.
Tim was sitting at my table last year with Joe Deals. Tim created like a double, because they had burgers and like I think it was brats and hot dogs, and when I say burgers, like his wife actually got hamburger meat and made the patties. It wasn't those cheap frozen box burgers that you get. She literally like got beef and made the patties. They were amazing. But Tim, like, I don't even know how he got it. You know how he's got that beard and everything. I don't even know how in the heck dude got that burger in his mouth, because that thing was, he like double stacked it and had everything on it and loaded it up. And man, yeah, Tim's a fun dude. He lives up in DC, obviously, and I see him at the Chantilly card show and stuff when that comes around. But yeah, again, I wouldn't deter anyone from going. Just personal choice myself this year for reasons.
Yeah, I've never been to the 127 or any of it. I wanted to go last year, and then we had some things that come up, and we just could not go. I would like to go this year. I don't know if we'll get to or not, but I really would like to go. We're gonna try. We're gonna look into it. But so this meetup thing, this thing that you guys are talking about, is this where all the resellers go and mingle and stuff? Is that what that is?
Yeah, for the most part. I mean,
Kind of a mixer, right?
It's YouTubers and stuff like that. Yeah, just to hang out. They like do get. I mean, again, it may be different this year. I don't know exactly how they're going to do it. Last year, Chris and Caleb put it on. They had people that they had come up and gave them the mic and go up and tell who they were and what they're doing, like how long they've been reselling, that sort of thing. Just kind of people get to know a little bit more about each other. They did some giveaways. They drew names and stuff like that. They giveaways. They had, food. There was some music. Chris, had video on his channel, Old School Picker. It was a good time. And then actually afterwards, Eric, OBX, and them went back to their Airbnb, and I think they put on like a whatnot show. I was at their Airbnb the night before the meetup. The night of the meetup, it was getting late, and we actually stayed in Oak Ridge, Tennessee, because it was a lot cheaper for lodging. But it was in the Eastern time zone, and Crossville is in Central, so it was like 9-10 o'clock already in Crossville, and we had to drive an hour plus lose an hour on our way back. So we didn't go over that night to hang out during the whatnot show or whatever. But yeah, I mean, it was fun. It was fun. And again, Caleb and his wife, great people. So yeah, people should have fun.
I almost went last year. I had thought about it, but for whatever reason, 127 was just brutal last year, or I was just old and fat and out of shape, and I was so wore out. It's like we're not going anywhere. We're just going.
That's probably what it is. Old and fat and out of shape. That would be
Yeah.
my excuse.
We actually we went every day, but Saturday I actually had a little strategy in mind, because I figured by Saturday most things were pretty well picked over, and I was like, let me look around. It was also supposed to like have a torrential downpour. You know how it was like hit or miss whether or not it was raining.
Every year.
Saturday was supposed to be a torrential downpour, and so I started looking around the area at estate sales, and actually had a good time. Me and my wife like took the back roads and stuff. We hit a couple yard sales that were popped up along, back roads and things, and we moseyed our way. Just took our time, and we found this estate sale. And literally, I don't even know how I got to it because there was no road; it was all washed out. And I went there because there was 2 cookbooks I seen in the listings. And it was funny, we get there, go in, and like obviously we were nowhere near being when they opened, and they had already done it the day before too. But we were about to leave, and I never do this. But as we were leaving, I asked the people running it, I said, "You don't know by chance if the cookbooks were sold?" And I don't know why I asked, but it was like something told me to ask. And the lady was like, "No, they should still be in there." And we went back inside, and there they were. She showed it to, they were there, $3 a piece. And I couldn't believe they were still sitting there. It was 2 cookbooks, and I sold one of them for 220, I think, and I have the other one listed for 280. So
Wow.
yeah. So it was definitely a great trip. Had fun seeing, some Tennessee countryside, and I almost left and didn't even see the cookbooks in there, and they were still sitting there and priced very cheap for what they were worth. They were, I don't know if y'all have ever heard of it, but they're white lily flower. I guess they have a big following, and this was the original first ever white lily flower cookbook from 1931 or something like that. And then there was also the second copy that was then obviously from the following year. So it was the first 2 white lily flower cookbooks. So
Cool.
That's cool.
We headed out.
Oh,
I was gonna say we always go out on Monday. I think it officially starts on Wednesday or something. Well, we went out
something like
Monday.
that, yeah.
Yeah, we went out Monday, and we always go out at least by Monday, Tuesday, because everybody's pretty much set up. And then we went out Wednesday, and probably by about lunch Wednesday, we were out of money. We spent every bit of the money we had allotted for the whole week, and we were just beat, man. So we started heading home, and the bottom dropped out of it too. So, and then we just like, you know what? Let's just lift the rest of the week. We're tired. We're old and tired.
right. I get you.
Incidentally, that's where
Least-
we found that Playmobil, that first Playmobil lot that kind of started us down that path. We found that on the very first day. So,
Oh wow.
yeah. Sorry, I interrupted you there.
No, that's okay. I'm behind anyway. So Sue says it real quick. Sue says that all those people give her anxiety. That's my wife. That's my wife too. Being around people. And then Lisa says we can't make it that far south. Our kids' high school is on the state route 127 here in Paulding County, Ohio, north of Van Wert, Ohio. So I guess up there, Lisa, you can still go to the yard sale, just can't go that far for a meetup, I guess. I guess
I
that's what
will
she's
say,
saying there.
I will say if you're in the I don't know, I've been all the way from the tip or where it starts at in Gadsden, Alabama, and I've only been as far as Jamestown, which I think is like Tennessee Kentucky border.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but if you go out early in the week, like Monday and Tuesday, it's not too bad. There's a little traffic, but for the most part, it's not really congested. But then I've been to Crossville on like the Wednesday it starts and the Thursday and Friday. I've never been out on Saturday, and it's just bumper to bumper. It's just horrendous. So if you can get out early, the earlier you can get out, the better. So
And the
Yeah, I would
one,
think the weekdays would be better.
well, the one end of Crossville, they were doing a lot of construction last year too. And I don't
mhm.
know how much of that they're going to be doing this year, but uh, the thing with Crossville that got me, there was a lot of stuff packed into one area, but I don't know. I like some people do crazy good at the tent cities and stuff, and I just get frustrated with them. Like the stuff that I enjoy buying, and then at the prices they have stuff for, it's just like I don't know. I go in there and I'll look around and I'm like, okay, I'm done with this place, and then I just get turned off of even checking them out. So there was a lot like we wound up in some small town. I don't even remember which. It wasn't Crossville, but it was somewhere near there, and
Done that.
I don't remember. I just remember I had to use the bathroom, and I was driving around looking for a McDonald's that it said that was around there because I knew they would have a bathroom. And we ended up seeing some sales for or signs for yard sales, and so I started chasing them. And you mentioned you've checked out up into Jamestown and stuff. I actually was talking to my wife. I almost want to. I know there's a lot right there in Crossville, but I almost want to try like the Kentucky, Ohio area,
Yeah.
and not to stir up any crap here,
Hmm.
but I found some good Tennessee volunteer items, and I don't know why. Like I thought I had hit a gold mine. Like I found a shark tooth logo athletic Tennessee Vols jacket. I can't sell that thing for crap. So I want to go get some UK and maybe some North Carolina stuff. Well, North Carolina is the other way, but UK. Let's see, go up into Ohio. Maybe there's some Ohio State stuff. Maybe people will buy that stuff because I don't know why. But Tennessee Vol stuff, I thought I had hit a gold mine, $1 for a shark tooth Tennessee Vol jacket, and no, like can't
Yeah.
sell it. Nobody wants it.
Actually, I'm gonna
Yep.
look. I found one Tennessee thing that I know sells amazingly well. Let me see if I can find it real quick.
Yep. Nobody wants Tennessee stuff.
Shut up.
Oh, nobody wants Tennessee stuff.
It's fun, and there's a lot to look at, but you will be worn out. You got to pound the pavement. You got to dig,
Oh
and like
yeah.
you got to get creative. You got to go off the beaten path a little bit, or you just got to
Right.
be good at finding stuff. I'll tell you, I did do one funny video, and it 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 was kind of hilarious. So y'all all know Julian and his wife, Bearded Thrift. So while we were down there, we were actually behind them pulling into a sale. And I had just purchased an item that's actually that you can't see it, and I'm not going to show it because YouTube might ding you for it. But I have it back there right now. I still have the item. I had just bought an item that I didn't expect to find down there. I actually paid $300 for it. And
Golly.
we pulled in, and I was showing it to Julian because I knew it would be something that he would be interested in. And I'd never met him before, but I knew just from things he picks up and stuff like that, I knew he would be interested. And his wife had walked in and was looking, and my wife had walked in. It was in this little barn, and they were in there looking. Me and him were outside talking, and we go in, and I see my wife holding like Christmas stuff. Like she had like a Santa Claus and something else, I think. And I thought she had already like looked at everything in the barn. And so I literally walk through the door, and I look at this rack that was outside, like the side door. And Julian was out there. He walks out there and he's like, anything good out here? It's like, there's a couple of pieces. I go back in and look at a couple more things before we go to leave. I literally, y'all, if you watch Julian often, you will probably remember the video where he picked up some vintage wall plates, and they also got a huge load of jeans that were really good, and it was from the 127. And they talk about, this jeans buy, and he talks about these wall plates. I literally go through my footage and I picked the wall plates up. I had them in my hand to look at what was under them and set them right back down. And neither one of us paid a bit of attention to the jeans or anything that were on the table. So it was me and her just looked at each other and we were like, this is funny, because we were right there. I literally, I titled my video, I had it in my hands, but Bear the Thrift Machine bought it. Because literally in my video, I had those wall plates in my hands to look at what was, I literally, it's one of those scenarios where you pass up, $5 to look at a dollar. Like, I picked them up to look at what was underneath and then set them back down without even paying any attention to it. And then I see in his video, he's like excited, he finds them. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I literally had them. So it was a fun, and it happens to everybody. If you go back and watch people and you were at the sale, you're going to see something that you just,
Yeah.
I mean, there's stuff that I'll pass up that one of you guys will pick up, and something you guys will pass up, and like I would pick up. That's why I've heard a lot of people talk about, well, there's just too many resellers out there. You can't make enough money in doing reselling. I mean, there's too much stuff out there to buy to resell. I mean, that's what it is. I mean, it's just, and everybody, you're not all looking for the same thing. You're not. Like Brad up here, he deals with these Playmobil and Thomas the Train stuff. I have none of that in my store, period. I see a Thomas the Train, I'm passing. I'm walking it right by it, So, I mean, it's just preference. But so you said you pick something up and then you lay it down and somebody else comes along and picks it up, and they just, if you know. And I don't know.
I literally was not even thinking about them because I seen what was under them. And so I picked them up only to look under them. I didn't even have it in my brain to consider buying them. I was looking beyond them, and that's where I made the mistake. But there's something else to this that you were talking about, boiling the eggs, so to speak, or getting rid of the eggs. A lot of this, people say that they're experienced in reselling and this and that, and they share knowledge and stuff. I don't think there's a secret sauce really to reselling. You go out, you find items that have a demand, you buy them at a good price, and you sell them for more than you pay, and you make profit. Like, there's not much of a secret sauce. Now, there's some tips that somebody might know, like something that might help or more efficient or whatever. But at the end of the day, it's not rocket science. Like, we don't have to have a chemistry degree to do this. It's pretty simple. But there's one thing you do learn and you gain knowledge from that really other people can't even teach you. And that's your inner self. What when you see it that you'll buy, that you'll actually take the time to mess with. One of those things for me is, I know this year, if I go and there's a huge amount of video games, don't get excited and buy everything, because I know I'm probably not going to list them. I don't want to mess with them, right? So we have to learn those things about ourselves. That's where the knowledge comes from. Learning about your inner self. What is it that you'll take home and you'll list, and you don't mind packing, and you can sell and make profit on it, and that you're actually going to list it and sell it, and not just get excited you found it and bought it and set it on a shelf or in a tote or in a box, out of sight, out of mind, because that's not making us any money. That's literally just adding to a pile and you know whatever. So I think that's where the most knowledge comes from, and things that we need to evaluate within ourselves is, what do I like selling? What do I like listing? What do I like shipping? You know, that sort of thing, and continue
Yeah.
building on that. And then what is stuff that I know has value, but I don't want to mess with it. You know, because
Yeah.
sure, you know, and it may not be smart to pass something up, but it's only making you money if you sell it, right? So
Right.
that's something that I've been trying to reflect on myself is, you know, if I'm not going to mess with it, why even spend the money to buy it?
Yeah. I think patience has something to do with it too. When I say patience, what I mean is um seems like a lot of the things that I get that I don't really want later on is it happens on days where you're out and you're not finding the stuff you want to find, and then you get a little anxious about it, have a little anxiety about it, and you start looking for anything of value that you can buy and sell, and it's the kinds of things that I pick up on those days that when I get home I'm like, I don't want to do anything with this crap except try.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think patience has a whole lot. By the way, I found that Brandon, I think you'll know the name and what it's called immediately as soon as you see it. But my son and I both found these at yard sale, at the same yard sale, $5 a piece. He bought his, put it up almost immediately, and it sold within just a few hours. I think for like 140 or $150. But you ready?
What? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's
Oh, what?
Yeah,
it's probably
it's a,
it's like a shockwave or some people
yeah,
might call it yeah.
The
Yep.
what?
It's a starter hat, and they probably call that the shockwave.
I think that's what it's called.
Yeah.
It's something with shock in it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's yeah. And you got two of those?
Yeah, well, they had a whole bunch of Tennessee hats in a box, and they wanted $5 a piece for their hats. Which my son bought one of these, and I bought the other one. The other ones weren't worth, they weren't worth
Yeah,
anything.
yeah, yeah.
But
You got the right ones.
I looked at this, and it's like, yeah, I know that's worth $5. I didn't know
Oh
how
yeah.
much
Oh
better
yeah.
than $5 it was worth, but I knew it probably was. So
So
yeah,
there's some folks that we razz each other, and yeah, again, this goes to, you have to enjoy or at least want to deal with what you're selling. And I sell, like, it's no secret, I sell a ton of hats. Um, but some people don't. They don't want to mess with them. They think it's a waste of time, or you know that the profit really isn't there because there's other things that sell for more or whatever. But you know, looking at my numbers, like I said I'd like to sell $10,000 in hats this year, and that might sound crazy, but I am at 1560 2 months in, so I'm averaging close to eight, well, just over 700, 750 something
I'm
a
gonna show
month.
you guys something.
So
Since we're
I
on
should be pretty
hats.
close. I should be pretty close to getting to my 10,000.
Since we're on hats, let me show you guys something here real quick. Which kind of shocked me, but kind of didn't. Let's see. When was the 27th? 2 days ago? Is that
yeah,
correct?
yes, yep.
All right, I want to show you guys something. Let's see here. Let's show everybody in chat too. Okay, yep. All right, so you guys see that hat right there? Let me full screen that. All right, everybody see that hat?
Mm-hmm.
All that is an Adidas Presbyterian College fitted 7/8 on field mesh cap, blue hose, whatever, Climalite. Okay. I bought this for $1.50 at a thrift store. It's brand new, still with tags, in really, really great condition. So I listed. There's a tag right there. Still got the price tag on it, $30 right there. Now you guys see that? $30 on the tag. I sold this on the toy. Still got the cardboard inside of it. I sold it on the 27th. I mean, this thing was immaculate. I sold it on the 22nd for $26 plus shipping.
Mm-hmm.
It's,
You know
and
why,
it's
don't
just
you?
it's a Presbyterian hat. You know what I mean? I mean, it's nothing. It's a Presbyterian college hat. I mean, it's nothing fancy to it. It's just it's new and it looks good. I think.
You know why, though, don't you?
No.
How many of them are out there?
Oh, I have no idea. I have absolutely no
I
idea.
tell everybody all the time, like, you know, yes, sports teams hats sell. You know, I'm not going to say
Yeah.
that, but it's a saturation. You know,
Mm,
there is tons of Dolphins hats out there. There's tons of even Tennessee or, you know, Kansas City Chiefs or the Raiders or whatever. There's tons of that stuff out there. But
so
there's
just find a
also
unique
an
one.
audience for something like Presbyterian College. And there's less supply of that. So if
Right.
you have an audience with a limited supply, it increases the value. It's not got the same demand as the Dolphins, but it has a a huge less supply of it, and it only takes one person wanting it, and you having the only one. I bet there's not. I would be shocked if there was more than one listed. You know,
Right.
some of my best hat sales have been the oddest things, like stuff that you would be like, I sold a visor, like an old 80s like golf tennis style visor for
Right.
$85 because it was from the 80s and from a golf course, and somebody probably was either at that event or was at that golf course or whatever, and they just wanted the hat. I mean,
Right.
one reason I like selling hats is they are a multi-purpose item. You know, some things only serve one purpose, but there are people that collect hats, but then there's also people that wear hats. So you have a duplicate audience there, and it's not just, look at shoes. Like certain shoes have a multi audience. People might want them to wear. You know, they have fashion style, but then they also have a collectible market, and those can be worth a lot of money. That Tennessee hat, I doubt somebody bought that to wear. They probably wore it because they collect Tennessee hats or whatever. I know Keith, Vintage Sports Flips. Yeah, I commented on his Instagram post the other day about one of his hats he had listed, and he said he's hunting for a Philadelphia Eagles splash hat because he collects. So that's another reason I like them, because there can be an audience for the craziest thing. Like I've said it before, one of my fastest selling hats, and I've sold multiples of them, of all things, is Waffle House. If I find a Waffle
Really?
House, yep, if I find a Waffle House hat, I know it's going to sell, and I know it's going to sell quickly.
Howdy, Pac Mac. Hey, you was talking about shoes real quick. Look at these guys right here. These are practically, I don't even know if they've ever been worn. Well, I'm sure they have, but like worn. But I got these. I went to an auction with my neighbor last Tuesday night, I think it was, and I got these. I got these for $5. $5. They're an $80 shoe all day long.
That's cool.
$5. Yeah, I couldn't believe it because it was just one of these little small auctions, hometown auctions. There's not that many people there, and they just set some shoes out on the table, and they said, "Who give me five?" Because they started it off at 10, and then the guy finally said, "Who give me $5 for them?" And one of them, and I raised my hand because I saw the Columbias up there. I said, "I'll give you five for the Columbias." And he says, "Sold." So I got those.
While we're on the
Uh,
topic of hats, I do, so many people talks about their wins and their successes and everything like that. I do like to admit when I'm wrong on things or mess up, and I kind of had a suspicion, but I I went against my suspicion and tried it anyway. But I had an item removed today.
Uh-oh.
It was for the government policy thing. It's a National Park Service, and it wasn't like an official ranger hat or anything like that. You know, they say that you can sell the vintage ones. I had thoroughly checked like solds and everything, and people were putting that they were vintage. It's made in USA, which normally indicates a vintage. I guess maybe because that's a government, you know, company or whatever you want to call it, source. Maybe all of them are made in USA. I don't know, but I took my chance. I put it up. There wasn't any listed. I put it up for like $33 because they normally sell for, you know, anywhere from 30 to $40.
Right.
And it made it 3 days, I think. And they removed it today and, you know, sent me the message, you can't do this. And the polite email, you know, to protect you and because of government and things that could happen, we had to remove your item and all that. So
Did it have a patch on it, Brandon?
it didn't have a patch. It's actually embroidered. I think it came from the gift shop because the other ones are saying like they were souvenir hats. It's not an official Ranger hat. But
Did you put souvenir hat in the title?
Yeah, I put souvenir.
That's
all of that in the
strange.
title. It didn't matter, you know.
Hmm.
AI
Yeah.
probably seen the photo, thought that there was because
That's what it is.
Actually,
Yeah.
let me pull the message up because it said something about I listed a patch and it wasn't a patch. It was
Right.
it
It's
was
the AI. It's got to
was
be the AI
embroidered.
doing it.
Let's see here. Appreciate that you have selected eBay to list your item, please. It says that you listed National Park Service patch on the site. And it wasn't a patch. It was an embroidered logo on the hat. It was not a patch at all.
Hmm.
And my title was Vintage NPS National Park Service Souvenir Trucker Snapback Embroidered Hat Cap. I said nothing about a patch. So,
Yeah, it's got to be the AI.
Was there by any chance? Was there any chance that was it a sell similar thing? Is there any chance that maybe one of the item specifics had patch in it?
No, my hats. I have a template set up for my
Gotcha.
hats,
Yeah,
and I title. I don't list using sell similar hardly ever. So unless it's my own item, and I have multiple of them.
Yeah. So Brandon can probably speak to this as well. I was going to chime in one little thing about that. Seems that empirical evidence suggests to me that when it comes out to hats, we do pretty good with minor league teams hats. If you know, a lot of times you'll see them and you're like, what is that? But that's where Google Lens comes in really great, help you figure out what team it is. And we do.
You do pretty good. So you do good with minor league.
Yeah, the other thing too is like you know, like for example, like even with like hockey jerseys.
Yep.
If you pick up like a Chicago Blackhawks jersey, you're gonna sit on it for a while. But my son found it was like the Ice Wolves or something like that. I think it's
minor league.
Yeah, and like that thing had so much heat and so pretty good, and it wasn't even super great condition.
It goes back to the same thing with like sports hats in general. You talk about the Dolphins, there's gonna be a ton of them. You get into like an XFL team, you know, and XFL is not the most popular league, but there's gonna be a lot less of them. The awesome thing with minor league. Well, the other thing with the minor league stuff is a lot of times they do like specialty one-offs. They'll have a theme night or something, and they'll wear a uniform for like a Saturday game, and that's all they use it for. And, you know, those hats are a lot less limited. Or in the minors, you know, the Boston Red Sox have been the Boston Red Sox for years and years and years and years and years. But minor league teams change who they are or who they represent quite often. Like, you know, the Rochester Red Wings might be a St. Louis Cardinals club today, but next year they could be the Washington Nationals club. And so they actually change up. And if they change names, then the team becomes basically a defunct team. And then there's even less and less and less of it out there. So that minor league stuff is especially older stuff. And if it is a defunct team that no longer exists or wasn't around very long, or was a specialty night, a theme night, alternate, logo or something like that, they can bring a lot of money, especially if that team has a following at all. So yeah, you're good job on your son. And minor league stuff for hockey too. Like hockey in general has. I mean, y'all see I'm wearing Dallas Stars. Minor league hockey has a pretty big following too. You might have to ship it international to Canada, but it'll definitely sell.
So I got a question for you, Brandon. All right, so you're talking about the XFL. So the XFL and USFL no longer exist because they've all combined into the UFL or something like that, United Football League. So here's my thing to ask you is, so if you find anything XFL or USFL now, would it be valuable because it doesn't exist? They killed it and combined it into the USFL.
I'll say some yes. I'm not gonna say all of it, but some of it could be yes. Especially if it was a team that had a following. Some of those.
Well,
teams,
the
the leagues
Birmingham.
didn't last.
Let's see. So the Birmingham Stallions, I think they're called, or something like that. They're a real big team to follow. I think they was either USFL or the XFL. I can't remember, but they are in the UFL. Now, some of those teams that was in those divisions are no longer. They
they're
didn't use.
defunct.
They only. Right. So that's what I'm wondering. Those teams like that, would that be worth anything to look for, to keep an eye out for? Do you think that would be some kind of
Yeah, I mean, if
value
you
with that
found a
stuff?
hat, jersey, maybe a T-shirt,
Right.
something like that. I mean, I'm not saying you're gonna get rich off of it, but it
No,
probably
no.
could have some sort of following.
Okay.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of football, I gotta ask you, Brandon. We picked up Anthony Weaver from the Ravens to be our defensive coordinator. You got any intel on the guy? He seems like a super bright guy.
I mean, the Ravens' defense was the best it had been last year in quite a long time. So, I'll tell you, like player wise, I want to follow Kyle Hamilton a little bit further. Because that kid, man, in that Chiefs game especially, he was everywhere. I want to see what kind of talent he turns into, because he gave me a a hope of a bright spot. Like being a fan of the Ravens when they had Suggs and Lewis and Ed Reed and
Just
that
beast
defensive
for
core
years
there,
there.
Haloti Nada,
Yeah.
like that defense was incredible. So getting a little spark like that, I want to see what that kid can do. But yeah, I mean, the Ravens defense was good last year, so. But y'all have a good team anyway. And I never even brought this up. I give you crap about the Dolphins, but it's funny. I was talking about the grading company earlier. The company I use, SGC, they're actually a partner with the Dolphins. They have advertising like at the stadium. They go there sometimes to set up and take submissions from fans and stuff. They have like on the big jumbotron and stuff, they'll put ads up and things like that. They're the only team grading company combination that's got like a partnership thing. But they're in Boca Raton, so they're
So is
they're
that
in
like
the neighborhood there.
Oh, okay. I was going to ask, is that a Stephen Ross thing? The owner, is that something, or just because I know he's got tons of business, but they're in the area. So that makes sense.
Yeah, they're in Boca Raton.
Yeah.
So they partnered up. Basically, they're paying for the advertising.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, there's a crazy story I heard. I got a couple of Dolphins podcasts I listened to. One of the stories they had about the Dolphins owner Stephen Ross was a few years back they needed new grass for the field because the field was messed up. That's when they were doing a lot of other people were using the stadium and stuff too, but he couldn't get grass. He purchased a sod company to like build into a legit, like big time business that supplies fields for, people all over the Southeast or whatever. but he did that so that the Dolphins could be at the head of the list when it came time to needing grass for their field. So he's one of those rich guys, got more money than sense, I guess.
Yeah.
So real quick, back to the hats thing. So for our viewers and everybody, what kind of hats other than Shark Tooth or the BioShock or whatever that thing is that Brad has there, what other hats would you keep an eye out for that's unique in the sports world?
Sports world? Oh
Yeah.
man.
I look for anything. If it's got stripes on it, I'm gonna look it up. That looks old, personally.
I mean, yeah, if it's old and in good shape, it's definitely worth taking a look at. Another one that a lot of people don't really know about, and you may not think it's that popular, but Drew Pearson, and he was a player for the Cowboys, but he has hats, a hat line or hat brand or whatever, and some of the designs of the Drew Pearson hats are worth a lot of money. So they would be popular teams, but some of those designs, people know the logo athletics, the sports specialties, the starters, that kind of thing. Some of the Drew Pearsons are hundreds. They're really good.
Wow.
So,
yeah,
I have to keep an eye out for those.
That's one that many people don't speak of.
Yeah.
So
I sold
go
one
ahead, Brad.
So I sold one in a district auction not long ago. Actually, I just did it as a gift to the district people because I could have put that up on eBay and made a lot more money. It was I think it was the Seattle hat I had.
So trucker hats. Can any trucker hat sell? Anything that's got a foam on the inside and the snapback with the mesh on the back? Even with a rope around the thing?
No. I no. Like, just not anything's gonna sell, believe me. Because there's some just off the wall, it could have Jim Bob's, catering service from Podunk, Egypt on there, and nobody even knows what the heck it is, So no, not everything. I'm not gonna say everything is gonna sell. No, and believe me, I have lesser success on the foam trucker type hats than I do like random golf course hats.
Yes, golf course hats.
Some of the golf courses, people know Pebble Beach and stuff like that, but some of these courses out there are kind of private, and they might have held like a tournament or event years ago, but they're not like the common place to have the tournaments, and people might want those. So, I do fairly good. Like I mentioned, that visor that sold for $85, and I wouldn't have thought it was sold for that. If somebody handed me that without me looking it up and knowing more about hats, I would have told them they were crazy. Like, who would even want it, let alone pay me $85 for it?
Right.
But the more you do it and look at things, it's kind of like that, what I was saying earlier. The knowledge is more what you learn about yourself, not what someone else is telling you. I'm sitting here telling you all about hats, but you going out there and learning it, you're going to retain that more than me telling you, look at this, because you're not going to really, you're thinking, well, what kind of visor is he even talking about, right? So that's where I think like we learn more from ourselves, whether positive or mistakes. There's a lot of lessons to be learned there just through our own actions. So
yeah, I think I think a lot of things, like when it comes like to hats, like this hat, for example, if this was a new hat, it'd be worthless. The only reason this hat I think is still worth something, it does have a cool design, but it just survived time, and the rest of them have dropped off the map, and so you find these few and far between that aren't just beat to shreds. And
how much did you say your son sold that thing for?
I think it's like 145 maybe, or 140.
Just think, if that was a Georgia hat, you probably could have got double that.
Couldn't give it away.
I do want to say, as with some categories, vintage hats have a following, and the following in them can be pretty annoying to an extent to deal with. So if you find a very popular hat and you price it at a strong amount, because that, you know, they sell for that, be prepared to get a lot of lowball offers. Hey, bro, would you take 100? Hey, man,
Yeah.
can you give me a better deal? Hey, bro, what's up, bro? Like, I have not seen so many messages that are "What's up, bro?" or "Will you take, bro?" than vintage hats. I have a Pittsburgh Steelers hat that I have gotten. I know, and I'm not exaggerating. This is going to sound like I'm exaggerating. I would guarantee you I've had between 30 and 40 messages asking me, will you do 100? Will you do 115? Will you take 85? Like, I have a price set. You can look
I don't
and see
know.
what they sell for.
I don't know if I could take 130 to 140 bros either. Hey, bro.
I had 47 watchers on the hat, and I ended it just to reset it all. So I got rid of everybody that was watching it, and hopefully that it would pick up new viewers, and it hasn't helped. There's literally right now about, let's see, where are we up to? I'll show y'all live right now where we're at on it.
I had a shark tooth Dallas Cowboy hat when I first started reselling. I had no idea what I had until I looked it up, and I was like, "Oh, this hat's worth a lot of money." And I priced it with the last one. I was new at reselling, so I priced it with the last hat sold, the last shark tooth Dallas Cowboy hat sold for, which was $96, and that's what I priced it at. And I was getting $50 offers, $60 offers, and I was just like, I don't get it. Did I price it too high? And I had to talk to somebody. I talked to a friend of mine, and they said, no, just leave it. Just leave it like it is. Just leave it like it is. That hat's worth a lot of money. And sure enough, somebody paid full price for that thing. Sure did.
Yeah. So I'm back up to 27 watchers on this hat. And I will tell you, one of the reasons that this one I think I'm having difficulty with is there are some people that think that they can get one over on the seller, or they are confused at the price, because you've heard of Mitchell and Ness, right? The brand Mitchell and Ness.
Yeah.
No, never heard of it.
Okay, well they essentially take old classic styles and designs and bring them back. Okay, they're basically a repop or reprint company, but they're a legitimate company, but they're not the original, the original make.
Right.
But they have remade this particular hat I have, and those only go for like $20 to $25. And I've literally had people argue with me that the hat that I have isn't worth that much, what I have it priced at, because they're seeing the Mitchell and Ness version and don't understand I have the original Logo Athletic. And so, I think that's some of the struggle, is because people either think they can get over on me and that I don't know what I have, or they just don't understand what I have. So,
do you have an original Logo Athletic in your title?
Oh yeah, it has all of that in there. The last
then
few
they're trying
of that
to,
hat that I've sold is.
Then they're trying
it's
to get
about
over on you.
$140 hat. So
details are going to matter too. I'll give you an example. We found I found a Boston Bruins sports specialty hat at a Goodwill, and when I got to looking at the comps, it's like 35, 40, 30, 25, 45, and then like there were 2 or 3 comps for like a 180, like a 250, something like that. And so it looks like, okay, these hats look identical. Then you get to looking, and it's like, no, they're not identical. They're identical in every way except the one that we bought it had a left hit right here that had the sports specialty logo right there. Whereas the other ones were identical. They were sports special. They looked identical in every way except for that little patch. And that we happen to have the one. I happen to have the one that was selling for 180, 250. I think I sold it for 225. Within a day or two of listing it. So, yeah.
That's basically what I get. Yeah. And he doesn't even know what the hat is. So the one I have, and as you were saying, the details matter. So I have what it is. It's the Logo Athletic Pittsburgh Steelers shark tooth. Now, if you just went and looked up Pittsburgh Steelers shark tooth, you would notice that there is a white dome, is what they call it, white dome, that has the black shark teeth on it and the Steelers logo. That one is only about $50. But I have the black dome with the yellow teeth, and that one is, about 140 to. There's been some sell for 200. And mine is I don't know that it's ever been worn. Like, it's in immaculate condition. So, yeah, I mean, it's more annoying dealing with the people, but I'm also in this position where if they annoy me too much, I'll just raise the price and just let it sit there, because I'll be completely honest. I'm into the hat for like 80 cents. I bought it at an estate sale, and I bought, I think, 12 hats for $10. And I've already sold one that came out of that lot for, I think it was 85. I've sold another one for 30. So I'm well into the profit. I could literally just have fun and set it next to my Ravens helmet back there and just have the rivals next to each other and call it a day. But, anyway, yeah, your dog Skippy, I remember him. It reminds me of him too. That's why I want so much for it. I can be a good negotiator, Silverhair.
I found a Mark Martin splash hat. Where did I find that? It's in the last week or so. Oh, there was an estate sale close to us. Yeah, it's dirty as all get out, but it was like super cheap. It was like on 75% off day, so I went ahead and grabbed it. But I bought it. Yeah. I bought it for one reason, because it's pretty dirty. I actually wanted to find the video I think that Chernock put out about the hat cleaning and see if I could rescue it, because it's a good one to test it on. So
I need to actually talk to him, because I've been able to restore and get some to actually clean up fairly nice. But there's one issue I have on some, and I haven't gotten rid of the hats because they actually are valuable. The part that I'm having a difficulty with, and you got to be careful, is sometimes the colors bleed. And once that happens, it's like I have not been able to get it out. So the dye and like the threads and stuff on some of it, it just bleeds, and so that can actually make the hat even worse than it just being dirty. So
yeah, I did that.
Figure out what's going on with that.
I did that with a Tony Stewart Home Depot Rookie of the Year hat. It just bled, and there was something in the red in the lettering on the something on the side. It kind of bled into the little checkerboard part. So I had like a pink checkerboard. Still sold for pretty good money though.
So we can circle back. Y'all were talking about sales earlier, and I think since we're like last day of the month here, I was just curious, like, how are you guys feeling? Maybe month to month comparison, or 2 months into the year. What's your 2024 outlook like? I mean, obviously we're not into the deep or the the prime season yet, because we're not out hitting those yard sales and stuff. But what's your outlooks like? Just I thought that would be an interesting
Yeah.
way to, or interesting thing to take a look at.
Yeah. Mine's outpacing last year. We're actually pretty close to where we ended the year. Not December, November, early December good, but we're kind of about where we were at in October. And so we're kind of at that pace, which is looking pretty good. One of the things that's kind of weird, just on just kind of like trends, seems like weekends are kind of slow. And then like middle of the week, or like Monday afternoon through, like Friday seem to be like our best sales this year. And I'm looking at the weekends and we're like, this is not looking great. And then it's like I told my wife the other day, I was like, let's wait and see how it averages out over 7 days, because that average still looks pretty doggone good. So
And say that's what I was concerned about too, because last year most of my sales came on Saturday, Sunday. Those 2 days is when I sold the most last year. And then this year, those sales aren't as high as they are on those 2 days, but throughout the week, like you said, mine usually starts picking up around Tuesday or Wednesday, and so my sales get higher during the week for some reason this year. So I'm not 100% sure what's going on with that. I don't know. It could be because of how I've changed my system of how I listed things, or what. I'm just not. I'm not sure. So uh, Sue wants to know, how do you display your hats for pictures?
So if you go to I think our store is Michael's, but if you go to like one of the craft stores, they'll have like the foam mannequin heads. I seen Silverhair said he has one of the glass ones. That would work too. Um, I bought a couple of the foam ones from, I think it was Michael's or one of the craft stores. And what I'll do is I'll take photo room and I'll put it on there front facing, unless it's got like a good detail on the side, and I'll snap the picture, cut the head out of it so it's just left with the hat, and then if I want to get fancy, I'll put a cool background in it. But I've actually been going more to just different solid colors that make the item look better versus having like a photographic background, because I think items sometimes get lost with the imagery in the back. And then that's my first picture, and then I just do like a angled one way, angled the other way, take a picture of the back. I turn it over, take a picture of the tag on the inside, take a picture of the full hat upside down, and then I take a picture of like where the sweatband and stuff is, so they can see the cleanliness of that. And it's real simple. I love listing hats because I just fly through them. So um, my sales are kind of interesting. So this month for February, I am almost dead even to what I did in January. And I'm excited about the projections for the year because last year was my first year reselling, and I didn't do much at all. Like, in fact, March I did 1.5 times amount in dollar wise that I did in January and February combined last year. So I took off running in March. This year I'm almost 2 times what I did January, February last year. So that's got me pretty excited, especially since I haven't been sourcing much. But what's interesting with me on this month is it's felt slow. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it's felt like sales are slow. Like you were saying, the days when sales hit, it seems like Wednesday or Thursdays have been pretty good days for me, and then Saturday I'll have a good day. All the other days have been kind of blah. I get sales, but they're just not like those days where you're really pumped. So it's weird. I was under the weather for a good portion of this month, and like today I was just extremely busy, so I didn't do anything really at all with eBay today. And so to see my numbers last month to this month, I mean, my dollar amount gross is literally, I'm up 2.5%. My quantity sold is up 0.6%. My ASP is up 1.9%. So it's like very minimal. It's all green, but it's very minimal. It's almost identical to my January. So I found that really interesting that
Yeah.
even though I didn't list as much, but y'all know from my motivation board, which I got to get back doing. This month, when I started feeling sick, it went out the window. But y'all seen January, I was pounding the pavement. Like I was putting the listings out there. So that might have helped me, that carryover. It kind of helped push it along still.
Yeah.
So, but it's
Yeah, I was
good to
gonna-
see. And I'm excited for what the year can do. So
Yeah, I was going to say I was just going to echo that, and while you're there, our February numbers are really close to our January numbers. I think it's like we're up 6.7% over January, so that's really close.
yeah,
From 2 whatever you said to 6 and 6.7, that's like pretty much a statistical dead heat. So that seems to be pretty consistent. Seems like for maybe multiple people. So that feels good.
I do want to ask because I have been, obviously, since I haven't been listing, I have been saying, all right, I'll bite the bullet and try a couple other things. I've been sending out offers more. Y'all know I've said I used to let them bank up to like 300-400 and then send them out. Have you noticed that you're not getting much conversion with sending offers lately? Or have you noticed any difference? Because I've noticed two things that's weird. I feel like the conversions haven't been that much, but also like earlier today, I sent out, I don't know, 20 some offers. And I think 2 or 3 of the items wound up selling full price right after I sent the offers out.
I've had that happen to me this week.
I'm
Yep,
like,
I've had that happen to me.
It doesn't make any sense. Like, so I don't know if there's some glitch there. Like, I've heard of people saying that they'll get the offer and when they check out, it charges. Nobody's messaged me, but it was very strange. I send the offers out and then like immediately one of the items sold and it was at full price, and I was like, that's very weird. So I was just wondering if y'all have been seeing any of that too.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's happened. That's happened to me twice this week also.
I that's one of those things where it's like it feels like that's true, but I can't give you an absolute yes that's true, but it kind of feels that way. Yeah.
Okay, I was just curious because it's just something I've been trying. You know, so many people say you should do it. You know,
Yeah.
I was kind of more doing it to alleviate the lack of listings I've been able to do. I'm like, all right, let me just kind of substitute it a little bit. And so, you know, it's helped here and there. I wouldn't say it's a drastic increase, but it's helped a little bit.
Yeah. I will say what has happened a couple of times is like people, trying to send us lowball offers on a couple of items and going back and forth with them. And then in that process, there's been like a few times where in the last just a couple of weeks where like there's been several times actually where someone has bought it full price during that process. So yeah.
So you was asking about numbers. For me, from last month to this month, so my total sales are up 1.9% this month compared to last month. My quantity sold was down 11.5%, but my average sale price is up 15.1%. So, and then everything else was up also. Your net sales, and then my net sales up 5.5%, and then all that other. But and then total buyers is up 1.9% also. Let's see. So my in the categories, wow, I didn't know that. My categories, certain categories are up 60. Everything's up, except the only thing down is the quantity sold, and I believe that has a lot to do. I don't know if you guys remember me talking about how I've been working on getting better items with the higher, what is that, RS,
ASP,
what do you what's that?
average sales price.
Right, right. So I've been trying to get better items that's got a higher price, so that price will go up. And I think that's what's happened there is the reason that's starting to kick in, and that's the reason the quantity is sold is down, but the average price is up. So the quantity is sold is down 11.5%, but the average sales price per item is up 15.1%. So that could have a lot to do with that also. So
I'm looking at
because
mine
my
I'm looking at mine
Go
right
ahead.
now. The quantity sold over the last month has actually decreased by 1.6%, but then our average sales price has gone up by 8.5%. So,
Well, I have some fun
Yeah.
numbers for you guys for the yearly rate. Okay, and this one y'all should get a good laugh at. So my quantity sold is down 21.7% from this period last year. Okay, so you would think that's terrible.
Okay, so you're doing the year. Okay, gotcha.
Well, I clicked over to the year. So the first 59 days of 2023 versus the first 59 days of 2024. My quantity sold is down 21.7%. My total sales, my gross number, dollar amount, is up 91.2%.
dang.
My net sales is up 93.8%. My ASP is up 144.2%. So you want to talk about selling higher priced items? But remember, I started out with a store loaded with
That's them.
cheap sports cards, and I was selling
Yeah, that's them
a bunch
million
of
dollars.
them.
That's them million
Yeah,
dollar sports cards you're selling.
that's why like when I hear people and everybody's got their own way of running their store. That's the beauty of this whole thing. But when I hear people put so much emphasis on their ASP, I kind of laugh because I'm like, if I really was worried about my ASP, I would not have the cards in my store and stuff. Like today, I sold 3 cards that were under probably $4 each. So to have my ASP right now is $42.89,
That's
and
good.
to have that with selling $1.50 and $2 cards mixed in that pile that
Mm,
drags it down. Think about that.
mm.
I mean, it could be a lot higher, but I actually have some stuff that pulls it down a little bit. So that's why I say I'm pretty excited where things are looking at. So
Yeah,
I
no. Hopefully things keep rolling. It looks like it's going to be a decent year if things kind of stay the way they are.
So far it seems. Now I want to tell you, I think so far, just the last 2 months seems like it has been better than it was this past summer, all the way up until probably October. And that just could be because the year, maybe the summer's slow. I don't know. I mean, I last year was the first time that I noticed the summer being slow. The years before, I never noticed that. But you hear a lot of people to call it the summer slowdown because everybody's traveling, nobody's shopping. Well, last year was the first year I experienced that summer slowdown in 5 years. So I wasn't. I was confused. But then there's other people out there that didn't have a summer slowdown either. So I don't know. But um, as of right now, my last 2 months have been better than, well, not been better, but the projection looks better than what it was over the summer to me.
I think looking back over the last couple of years and just kind of paying attention to how things played out, I think there are some things you can do if you're just looking to make some sales. There's some things you can do. Most of you probably you've heard Osborne to Thrift, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Tim. Yeah.
Yeah. So when he had his YouTube channel a couple of years ago, he was selling a lot of electronics and stuff. And it's not stuff that I've avoided, but it's just not ever anything I really focused on. And so
Mm-hmm.
just as a test there for a little while, I was like, I'm just really gonna lean into it just to see. And we got a huge spike in sales for like the month and a half that I did that. So if you're looking for sales, but there's categories that you kind of avoid because you just don't want to fool with it. And when I say that, that's just strictly based on shipping stuff, which I don't avoid, but it's also like if I can pick up, if I have a choice between two items and I can pick one up and it ships really easy compared to one that ships really hard. But your average sales price will go up if you do that. Your packing headaches will also go up, but it's worth it. You'll also have a few more returns than you normally have too. So,
Right. So you went to electronics then? That's what you're saying?
well, I've always done them, but there was just there for a little while. It's like this guy's selling a ton in this category, so it's like I'm just gonna like lean into it a little harder and see, how much it would help our numbers if we focused on it a little more, and your numbers will go up. But like I
Yeah.
said,
I'm gonna try to reach out to Tim and see if he would want to come on and be a guest on the show. Uh, he's got a lot of good information in that category, man. I mean, he's just he was one of the first ones. Him and Harry Tornado Josh was one of the first two that I actually started watching when I got into reselling, and I learned a lot from him because I mean, it with as far as electronics goes and kitchen appliances and vacuum cleaners, man, this guy ink. I learned about the ink through him, and it's just he's got a lot of really really good information out there that would be good for people. Now I don't know if he's still doing videos though or not. I know he has a
yeah.
huge. He don't do the videos anymore.
I'll tell you, no, he doesn't. But one of the things I respected about that guy was that there's like nothing he wouldn't pick up,
Mm-hmm.
And this is not any kind of statement or any knock or anything about YouTube people. But the kind of stuff he was picking up was not something that lent itself to having a lot of viewer sales, because it's higher price stuff and blah blah blah. But
Yeah.
I'll pick up anything and sell it. I just thought he was killing it in a way that a lot of people aren't, and it's just because he was
Well, here's the thing too, right? And here's the thing too with him. You got to remember back when he was making his videos that I remember is his sale his when he would go to a thrift store. It wasn't nothing for him to drop $500 in that thrift store. But he's making $2,000 or $3,000 off that $500 that he's spending. I mean, and that was a point that I wanted to get to, when I was doing it. But Absolute Fine says something here, and I want to touch on that real quick. He says he's had a few returns on electronic lately, even with being sold as for parts or repair.
Mm-hmm.
So, Absolute Fines, there's a way. I don't know how they're able to return that because here's what happens with parts repairs. When I list them, I'll tell you what way I do it. So I list it automatically for parts repair. I don't choose used. There is a parts repair option for condition, and I also put that in my title. I put it in my description down there. I put it in where the condition is. And then I also put as is, no returns. I always do no returns on my parts repair. Now, I don't know how they can return it because it's parts repair. They can't return it for broken. They can't return it for the item not as described because if you have parts repair in 3 different places, they can't. They can't. There's no way to return it. The only way they can return parts repair is probably saying ordered by mistake. But then that's a what do you call that, Brad? A remorse, some kind of remorse thing or whatever it is. Yeah, remorse thing. So then they're paying for off the rip there. They're paying for a label to return it on that. And the reason I noticed because me and eBay have had conversations about this, so that's how I figured out how to list my parts or repair items. So So I'm not sure how they're able to return it other than saying they have ordered it by mistake. And the only other thing after that, they're paying for a label because that's a remorse. I just found that out recently. Any remorse returns, regardless if you have free returns or not, the buyer has to pay for that label to return it. So, and I just found that out.
Well, the ones that I've had in the past, I hadn't had any lately, but the ones I've had in the past where I did something for parts or repair, or with knowledge of like my son's, he had one that was just it was infuriating. But they can still choose item not as described.
Really?
And yeah, and it doesn't matter if it doesn't matter, it's like I'll give you the one my son did, for example. He had picked up a old slide projector, the kind like you had back in the
Yep.
70s,
The old
and
school ones. Yeah.
so it worked, but the shutter function, like you push the little shutter function, and it wouldn't progress the shutter. And so he had, that was in the title. It was in the listing. It was listed for parts and not repair. The whole deal. And they get it, and they say, here, item not as described as what I can't remember what they chose, and then one of those options they chose, and then said in the message, projector turns on and operates, but won't forward the slide. And it's like, you call eBay and you're like, exactly, just like it stated, and it's for, that's the reason it was listed for repair. And the eBay does the rep will do the polite, yes, I can see that here, and I can blah blah blah, and it's still you're gonna take the return either way. This is actually one of the things that led me to just turning on free returns.
Oh, I don't mind the free returns. I don't mind returns at all. It's just that I call eBay and I'll argue with them. I'm like, look, this is a remorse return. I don't have to pay for the label. I offer free labels, and that just happened to me last week. Because a buyer ordered. A matter of fact, I don't know if I've told you guys about this, but a buyer ordered an item from me. Within an hour of me shipping it, they canceled it saying ordered by mistake. Well, guess what? That's a remorse return. They hadn't even got the item. eBay said it shouldn't even been approved. So what happens is now is all I had to do was approve my address, and the buyer's going to buy a label, and they have another 5 days to send it back to me. And if they don't, then they're stuck with it, and it's theirs. And but as far as parts, the items every item that I've sold and have listed parts or repair, I have never had an issue with. Never. I've had somebody try and return it, and I called eBay and explained to them. They says, "Oh no, they can't do that." So they deny it or whatever they got to do to, But a lot of the eBay has a system that is failing on the returns, and when I say that is their system allows a person to return an item before the item is actually delivered to them. That's a that's a I think that's failing their return because how do you return something and you don't even have it? So they need to fix that. They do need to fix that problem there. I agree with that 100%. But TC, what I would do, man, and this is me, my friend. I would call because every time you call eBay or every time you have eBay call you, however you do that, you talk to a different person every single time. And if you don't like what you hear the first time, try again. You'll get somebody different, and you might like what they hear. I've done that. I've waited. In the morning I've called, and then if I didn't like what it was, I waited till the afternoon, and then sometimes I get what I want, or I may wait till the next day. So it's just, yeah. Sometimes the buyer doesn't read description. You're absolutely right, but that's not your fault. That's not your fault. When it parts or repair, you have 3 different places that you can put that in your listing. Number 1 is your first and your title. Number 2 is condition of item, and number 3 is in your description. The very first thing I put in my description is for parts or repair, as is, no returns. That's the first thing I put in my description, and then I'll put down if I know what's wrong with it, I'll put what I know is wrong with it. So that's, I mean, I love selling parts or repair items. I do.
Yeah.
I love
Well,
it, man.
I sell it too. I actually listed a couple. Well, now take that one thing. I listed one thing today for parts or repair, and this is what I would. This would be kind of my final word on it. What I'd say is, no matter what you say, if they put the right thing, if they pick the right thing in the return reason, you're going to get the return either way, and there's nothing you can do about
Yeah.
that. We'll say this
Yeah.
though. I will say that if you call and like you got a hold of a good one that did whatever they did for you, Chris. But I would say that if you call, they're going to give you the standard, like reading off the sheet, that yes, I can see that here and blah blah blah. I'm sorry this happened to you. What you can do is you can, if you have, they'll explain to you, if you have free returns turned on, you can actually deduct up to a certain amount when they send it back and blah blah blah. They'll tell you all that. But then the other thing is so you can do that, and that can help a little bit. The other thing would be that if the first rep you talk to doesn't give you the outcome you want, just keep bugging them, and eventually
Yeah.
you're going to get one that, here's what's going to happen. They're going to refund the buyer, but they're not going to make you refund the money. But
Right.
I wouldn't try to do that too many times, because eventually I think
So
they'll put
just,
you on do not respond list.
yeah. Right. And see, just remember when they say they'll take care of it and you're okay and all that, and you don't have to worry about anything. That's true. You don't have to worry about anything. You're gonna keep your money, but they're not taking money from the buyer either. They're refunding the buyer too, because they have money back guarantee. And that 115 Boss, is that the Boss radio you got down here from the Dream Center right down the road from me? Absolute TC. Is that where that one's come from? The one you was telling me about? If that's so, man, I really hate that, man. I mean, that's crazy. I don't understand how they can. I don't. I would have fought that one, man. If it had been me, I ain't gonna lie to. Oh, it was an auction. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
If it was me, I would have fought it.
returns hurt no matter what. But
Oh yeah.
and we don't get very many with the stuff that we do. I mean, we get 3 or 4 a year at the most, but we have a pretty good track record there. But it hurts no matter what. But it's just one of those things. Just like, just get it back, relist it, and some of those items you think, okay, I'm gonna have to sell it again, but at least I'm gonna break even on it. At least. So.
Oh, I got something to say.
Yeah, negatives suck.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a perfectionist like I am. Like I don't know if you know what the Enneagram is, but on the Enneagram, I'm a 1, which is a perfectionist. And getting a negative would just destroy me, which I'm in danger of getting a negative. All right, here's a tip I'll give you guys. Tip of the week.
All right.
It's funny. So I have a board game that I sell parts for. If I see it, I pick it up and I sell parts. I just got a multi.
Is it Risk?
No. It's a Mousetrap. One of the years of Mousetrap. But anyway, when I see them and they're really cheap at yard sales, I'll pick them up. And I have a listing that has, it's a multi-item listing. So it's got all the parts, and then I go in and populate. You can go in and put in the number of the quantity that you have for each item.
Mm-hmm.
So I accidentally ended that listing. I was doing a group. I've intentionally try not to end that listing, but I had ended it, and I relisted it without realizing it, or sold similar, not realizing. And here's the funny thing. When it relisted, I saw it listed an item that I didn't have in stock, and that item sold, which is always the first item to sell out of that particular. And I knew as soon as I saw the sale, I'm like, I don't have any of those, because I know when I have one of those, because it's a very high, it's a very popular part in that. And then it's like,
is it the trap?
No, it's actually the plumbing. It's like this blue plumbing thing. It's like a
Yeah.
But yeah, so it sold, and as soon as I saw the sale, I'm like, I don't have one of those. I know I don't. And then I realized what had happened. It's like, oh, that I accidentally ended that and sold similar. And when it put the listing back up, it populated that item with that I had 4 in stock. And here's the part. And so I had to cancel. I had to apologize to them. And I'm going to have to cancel because I can't fulfill your order. Whether it was a glitch on eBay's part or a mistake on my part, it's on me. It's my responsibility, and I apologize. Here's a coupon you can use for next time. Blah blah blah. So I hadn't heard anything from them yet. That was like a day or two ago. But so I could technically get a negative, but here's the crazy part. When I got the box down and inventoried everything, with the listing to make sure everything was correct, every single item in that box had the quantity populated correctly, except for that one item. And it had listed that I had 4, and I've never had more than one of those at a time, that particular part. So I've never had.
That's crazy.
I've never had 4 as a quantity on that item. So
mousetrap part sale.
Yeah. So here's my tip: if you have a multi-item listing, and you have different quantities of those items, if you happen to end it and sell similar, just double check everything because. Yep.
Yeah. I do risk boards pieces. The risk pieces, especially the colored pieces. I sell those. They do pretty good. You can always sell them all in a lot or sell them individually, however you want to do it. But those.
I was going to say, that actually reminds me of what I just popped in my head. That was where that all started was that I'm a perfectionist, right? And making a mistake bothers me. So our defect rate on our account is 0, and it has been forever, right? Because we just don't lose items. We have everything skewed great. We don't lose items. We find her. And that's bugging. It's bugging me that next month, whenever that thing renews, I'm going to have a defect rate. It's probably going to be like 0.01 or.
And look, that will stay there for a full year.
I know that sucks.
Yeah,
I have to look at my mistake every day.
Let me tell you what I did. Let me tell you what I did, and this is a royal screw up, and I'm surprised I haven't gotten an email or anything about it. So I sold an item 3 weeks ago on Depop. 3 weeks ago. I had no idea. I sold it. I was on my I was going through the computer and I was looking at some stuff the other day and I saw that I had a notification on my Depop account. And I was like, what? And so I clicked on it and it said I had a sale. So I was like, oh, I got a sale on Depop. I click on the sale and it's 3 weeks old. And I'm like, what? No way. And then I was like, man, I got to do something about this. And so before I could get the label printed, I actually now this is really weird. I get an email saying I got 7 days to ship the item. And I'm like, this item's 3 weeks old. You're just now telling me I got 7 days to ship it? That's just crazy. So I shipped that sweater today. That sweater, he bought it 3 weeks ago. It is going to California. And I shipped it today. So I was just like, oh, man, here we go. Negative feedback on Depop. This is going to be great. It is the only second item I've sold on there. So, but see, I don't get a notification or nothing. I just have to check my emails or go into the app or on the computer or whatever and look at it every once in a while. It's kind of like the Bonanza thing. The only time you know when you sell something on Bonanza is when you get an email.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, maybe that reminds me I should check my Depop because I haven't looked at it in months.
Look at this.
Yeah, I know.
Silver hair is crazy, man.
Silver hair is a joker. I like him.
Viruses of all about missing kitchen knives. Golly. So, Brandon, let me ask you this. I saw this question on Kat's podcast early. Is either last week or this week earlier. So here's the question. do you believe that? Do you think? Now I'm asking you this because I know your faith, and I got an answer for this too. That items can be have can okay. So the question was, what do you do about items that have a spirit attached to them, or do you worry about that or anything like that? What do you not buy or buy concerning that?
Ooh.
Yeah.
You know,
So you have to remember there are a lot of people out there that believe in stuff like that, so we have to remember that.
well, without diving into big theological questions and answers and stuff like that, I'll just say this: if I get a bad vibe about an item, I just don't buy it.
Right, there you go. Now I will
So,
give you my answer.
so far, no clown dolls have tried to murder me in my sleep with a knife,
Right.
with a knife missing from our butcher block. So
Right. So my wife will not let me buy any creepy dolls to sell on eBay, which I probably would. I don't think dolls are creepy. I don't think there's anything wrong with that or anything. Now I will tell you guys this. I bought this is crazy. And then this tells you how I didn't know anything about it. But I accidentally bought 2 packs brand new tarot cards. When I say accidentally, you'll understand what I'm saying. When I bought them, I thought they was like a variety of Pokemon, or not Pokemon, but like Magic the Gathering cards, some kind of cards like that. Well, when I went through them, when I got them home and got looking at them, I was like, these are tarot cards. Well, I'm gonna tell you, I struggled because of my faith. I struggled with that because uh, I shouldn't have, but I did, because they would bring me a lot of money. But those tarot cards went in the garbage can. I didn't even put it in the donation
your
box. They just went in
your
the
garbage
trash.
can. They went in your garbage can.
Yeah, they went in the garbage can. They had
I'd
to
have put
dump.
them in a neighbor's garbage can. No,
So I'm like,
yeah.
unlike Charizard, a fortune teller,
Oh, yeah.
right? So I discarded those. Didn't even redonate them. I just throw them in the trash. Something else I will not buy. I have seen it, but I will not buy it. Is a Ouija board. I won't fool with that at all. Um, so there's just some things out there, that I won't buy, and some things that I just don't think is right to sell. I mean,
Yeah.
I understand people believe in that, and I understand that's what they do, but I'm not going to contribute to it.
So here's the thing. Yeah, and let me preface this whole statement with I don't judge people for what they pick up and sell. People pick up stuff all the time and sell it, and I'm not
Mhm.
gonna I'm not gonna
Yeah, I don't either.
not gonna diss anybody over what they pick up. But I do believe in the unseen. It would be hard to be in my other line of work, as it were, and not right. But
Right.
so yeah, I don't pick up things like tarot cards just for conviction reasons personally. I don't pick up things like tarot cards and Ouija boards. And again, I'm not gonna cold bust on anybody that does. I don't pick those things up. What's funny though is I will pick up Bibles and sell them, so you can make judgments
I
about me.
do. Yeah.
I don't mind promoting
I'm a,
that. I don't want to promote
hey,
those.
look. Hey, look. I've made good money off Bibles and Bible sets and the children Bibles books. I made good money off of them, and I'll sell that. And some people are like, well, how can you sell? Well, you go to a Christian bookstore. Guess what? They're selling it 3 times as much as I did.
Yeah.
So I don't really not think that that's wrong. I mean, now if somebody's in need of a Bible, and they don't have the money to buy one. Hey, ask me, and I will be more than happy to give you one. If I
I
don't
think I
have one, I'll
saw.
go buy one to give it to you.
I don't know if the video was older or not. I actually heard Lonnie, Shed Flips Lonnie. He
Mm-hmm.
and Candace were talking about something on, maybe it might have been one of the videos last week, about picking up questionable items and selling them. And like, I know that there's stuff they pick up and sell that I personally wouldn't pick up and sell, but I 100% have no judgment or have any ill thoughts towards people like that at all. So
Oh, right. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Uh, so yeah, well, there's a reseller, that the YouTuber that will sell Ouija boards. and has said they sell Ouija boards, but
Mhm.
that's what they sell. So that's,
Yeah, he might
that
have
ain't for
even
me to
mentioned.
judge.
Yeah, he might
What's
have
that?
even mentioned. I was saying I think he might even have mentioned selling Ouija boards in the past or something like that. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yes. I mean, and that's, hey, if I find them and he wants them, I'll call him and tell him, say, hey, I got one here.
yeah.
You
Now,
want it?
if y'all want to talk about ghosts and spirits and Bigfoot, aliens and all that stuff, I'm a lover of all of that stuff. My favorite podcasts are kind of, there's one called the Confessionals and there's one called the Belief Hole podcast, and now
Well, alien,
I don't subscribe to
the
all
gov-
of it, but I do enjoy it.
yeah. Well, the government said the aliens are real.
Well, yeah,
Do you remember that? Yeah, do you remember that?
yeah. I
It
got
was
some.
so funny. It was so funny. They come out and said, "Yeah, aliens are real, this and that," and right in the middle of something else was going on, and it's like everybody's like, "So we all knew that anyway."
Yeah.
That's
Hey,
that. That's kind of like the attitude it was.
hold it down for a second. I'm going to take a picture of something I got on the wall that I found at a Goodwill. I'll be back in just a second.
Oh, Goodwill. Speaking of Goodwill, we went to guys. I want to show y'all something. So we went to Goodwill this week. I know we are supposed to boycott a Goodwill, but my wife she can't stay out of there. And when we go in there, it's just I'm just gonna have to just I mean it is what it is. But we picked this thing up. It's porcelain. If anybody, I tried Google Lensing it. It does have a writing right there, and I think it says SAB, and it's got like the circle C right there, and it's got real lightly you can see SAB on it. I have no idea. I can't find anything on it. I just have no idea, but it's old. It's really old. I don't see a maker on it or anything like that. So I mean, if anybody has any idea, leave in the comments, or yeah, leave it in the comments when you watch this later or whatever, or anybody in the live chat here can let me know, because this is just, I think it's really, really cool. And as I was looking up horses today, because I was listening to this one, as I was looking up horses, I think from judging from the prices of some that I've seen sell, I'm going to start looking for porcelain horses, because there's some out there, guys, that sell for like $300 and $400. It's crazy.
Mm. All right.
What you got, Brad?
Yeah, I took a picture of this. We found it. It's a metal sign. I found it at a Goodwill and we picked it up, but we had to keep it. So
What is it?
I don't know if you can see that.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Speaking of metal signs, that's cool. That is cool, man.
Snatching your
Let me show you
people
what
up.
let me show you what I sold yesterday. So my wife said when we got this, my wife was like, I got it at the Goodwill bins. I just picked it up. It's a metal sign. So I know metal signs sell, right? So my wife's like, there's no way. There's just no way anybody's buying that. There's just no way they're buying that. I'm going to show you guys. Let's see, pull it up right there. Let's see. There's it. Yep, here we go. All right, let me get back. Boom. All right, let me share it. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah.
If you ever find the Reefer Madness video or sign from that the old video the government had about the pot, those sell pretty good, I think.
Yeah. All right, take a look at this thing right here. All right, so I picked this up at a Goodwill bin. This thing's 38 inches tall. Okay, it's just an old metal sign. It says ski area. No, it's 30. It's 30 inches tall. Sorry, is that right? 30 inches. I thought it was 38, but yeah, there it is. 30 inches. So I bought this at a Goodwill bins maybe last month sometime, and there was no other one out there listed anywhere or anything. So I just said, hey, I'll list it for $30, right? $29.99. Guess what? It sold for $29.99. They paid $14.99 shipping, all in for $48.97. That sign cost me less than $1 at the bins. That's crazy. That's just absolutely crazy. But yeah, you said something about vintage signs. I think I show you that. And that's it. It went to New York. It went to my wife said it went to a studio in New York. So I don't know if it's a movie studio or anything like that. So may need to keep an eye out for a sign for a prop. What
Yeah.
Silverhair just posted this in the chat.
Yeah. By the way, if my wife is watching, I love you. You're so pretty.
Do what?
I said just in case my wife is watching, I was just gonna tell her, I love you. You're so pretty.
Golly. I'm gonna see if I can click on that link.
It might be pornography. I've seen some of the other
Oh,
stuff Silverhair's posting. He's a
it
wild
better
card,
not be.
dude. He's a wild card, dude. Let's see here. Oh, it's horses. Yeah. Left and right.
Let me.
Yeah, thanks, Silverhair. That's a good research.
Wait a minute, did he find it?
I don't know. What was it you were looking for?
You think it's a lefton?
I put the link in and clicked on it, and it was the top one's a Lefton ceramic horse figurine.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Looks like an Occupy Japan horse figurine.
Yeah. There's some different ones.
Did you see this, Brad? Did you see that, Brad?
Yeah.
See, so it's porcelain, all right, and it's old, but see the markings on it. It's got the circle with a silver with the C in it, and then it's got SAB is what I can make out on it. And that's what it looks like it is to be, but it's real light where you can barely see it, man. I mean, I can't see, and I had to let the light hit it just right, and had to get my glasses out and look at it. I think it's SAB. I could be wrong, but it does have the circle with the C in it, and I don't know what that means. So I'm hoping. I don't know. I paid $1 for it, so I mean, it's got to be worth. I'm sure I can get $1 out of it, right?
Yeah. we need to. Somebody needs to curate a list of sites for just everything. Like if there's like a horse site, how to identify, horses or just whatever. Because there's so many makers marks, and I've found it with things I'm trying to find, and the hardest part is finding if you can ever get on the trail of the right websites and stuff that have that kind of information. It's just it's hard to find that stuff. I'd love to curate.
See if I can find. I'm gonna have to do some more research on it and just see what happens.
I want to just thank everybody being in the chat. It's good to see. Good to have everybody here with us.
Oh, yeah. It's that time. So you got anything, Brandon? Oh, chat. Brandon, put your. No, I got you. Hold on 1 minute. All right, chat. So Brandon wants to be the first YouTuber. Crap. Hold on a minute. I gotta go. Where's my?
Yeah, it's my joke.
There it is. He wants to be the first YouTuber to have 500 subscribers with no videos. With no videos. Right. I'm gonna put your channel in here.
It could be hilarious. I'm sure I'll make a video long before I get there. So, but it would be hilarious.
Now I know I'm a subscriber to your channel. I just can't find it. I got so many.
Hey, Ping G just popped in. Hey, see you later, Silverhair Stacker. Appreciate you being here.
See you later, Silverhair.
Yeah.
So where are you at, man? Hello, Ping. Nice to see you.
Yeah, go check out Silverhair Stacker's channel on YouTube.
Oh, he got a channel on YouTube?
Yeah, I can't remember if it's called Silverhair Stacker. I actually looked at it the other week.
There we go.
If you got a link to it, Silverhair, throw it in there.
Right. Let's see here. Live. There we go. All right.
Watch my videos if you need a nap, he says.
All right. So here's Brandon's channel. Those of you that I was on my way here and got sidetracked with a video on Paul McCartney. Oh, okay.
Paul McCartney's
Well, it's
awesome.
good to see. Yeah, it's good to see you here anyway, even though you're at the end.
Yeah, I actually like a lot of Paul McCartney stuff with Wings. It was good stuff.
Right.
That other little band he had wasn't too bad either, I guess.
Right. So hey everyone, thanks for joining us. Brad, you got anything coming up?
I'm actually going to be selling some stuff on District in the next few weeks.
That's right.
So
That's
I'm
right.
gonna jump on that. Other than that, no, just have my quest to be the first YouTube personality to reach 500 subscribers with no videos.
Right. You're yeah. You're and you know that's gonna be awesome if you do. Here's the other thing. You're gonna they're doing a raid train with District and for Easter. Is that correct? Isn't that what that was that I read?
I don't think anything's put in place exactly yet, but just
Okay.
somewhere in the next few weeks they're talking about doing that. I know that once Eric gets back in a couple of days, and then I know Tim has talked quite a bit about they're going to start trying to ramp up stuff on the District side. So if you've not gone over to district.net, go over there. It is district.net. Yeah, let me check it out. Just say,
There's a link. There's a link in the description.
Yeah, go over to district.net and give the One Stop Shop guys a follow there. And there's other people there too. I know that, Commonwealth Picker and ADH Dave and Carrie have the Dibbed It channel. And then I've heard a lot about Crazy Lamp Lady's got a channel there or a district there.
And we also have the Mulligan's Golf channel. Nothing but golf items on that channel.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm part of that one also with Eric and what's the other guy's name? Well, Kevin's in that one, but I can't think of the other guy. Golly, I can't think of his name right now. But anyway. So yeah, we got that, and then tonight, guys, for me, so yeah, keep an eye on the District. A link to that's below to the District app, the one-stop shop. Brad's got some stuff coming up. They're going to be doing a raid train auction style, which is like every 30 minutes, it's going to be an auction. I'm probably going to try and be a part of that also. Just got to figure out what day they're doing it on. As of right now, tonight at 9:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, here in about 45 minutes. You can check the link below. I'll be on Whatnot. If you're not part of Whatnot, you can click the link below, and you'll get a $15 credit to spend anywhere on Whatnot. Right now, I have gotten into the sports card part of Whatnot, and that's what I'll be doing. And like tonight, I'll be doing all basketball rookie cards. You can see that, just all basketball rookie cards. Let's do singles for $1. We've had some really good times the last couple of weeks just doing baseball and breaking some packs and stuff like that. So I do a show every night except for Sunday nights. They're late shows between the average time between 9:30 and 10:30 start time, depending on the day. So we got that. I got videos coming out on the main channel here. Got some videos coming out for that. And then I think that's it till next week. Think so?
Yep, yeah,
think so. Yeah. So everyone, thanks for joining us, and we will. Oh, okay. Sorry, I just saw that. Let me get the brand here. Where in the world? Hold on, guys. Okay. Here we go. I got lost. All right, everyone. Have a great one. We'll see you guys next week. Remember everything. Check the links below, and y'all have a good one.